Hey everybody, David here, and today I want to talk about Loki, the new series on Disney Plus, episode one, titled "Glorious Purpose," because that is a line of dialogue that's obviously said in the first Avengers, where Loki, when he appears, he says, "I am burden of glorious purpose." I don't remember where he says that. It's somewhere in the film, but earlier on in the film, and so that's what the title is named after, because it is all about Loki discovering his purpose in this world, and basically this series takes place in Endgame. If you remember, there was a scene with the Avengers going back to 2012, and when they're back there to steal the Tesseract and Loki's staff, they fail. And what makes things even more worse is that the Loki in 2012 steals the Tesseract and goes off somewhere. And this show shows us where he ends up. And because of that, the TVA, which is known as the Time Variance, I forgot what the A stood for, but they go and find Loki and say, "Hey, you're coming in with us, and we're gonna deal with you and probably reset you." So they bring him to the TVA, where they introduce us to this whole new world and concept that we never knew existed in the MCU before. And this is where Loki learns not only a little bit about himself, but what would eventually happen in the correct timeline if he didn't go off and do what he did. The TVA explains that to him. Owen Wilson is introduced, and Owen Wilson, I gotta say, is fantastic. It's great seeing him. He's always great in everything I've seen him in. Meet the Parents, whether it's that or the Night at the Museum movies or Wedding Crashers, or he's been in a lot of comedies, of course. Obviously, the voice of Lightning McQueen in the Cars franchise. So, learning that he was coming into the MCU was interesting to me. Was some fun casting that I never thought about. That I'm like, oh, okay, this is gonna be cool. And right away, him and Tom Hiddleston, they have this back and forth, and it's really interesting seeing these two act off each other. And I'm already liking Owen Wilson's character. He's like a detective, and he knows he needs Loki to track down this other time variant that he's working on trying to locate, who we learn at the end of the episode it's another variant of him. So what the heck is going on there? There are some theories, which I'll get to a little bit later. So I really did like learning about this TVA, the Time Variant Association, or whatever you want to call them. I know the A is, it's going to bug me that I didn't look it up before this, but whatever. Yeah, I did like looking at the TVA. You know, a lot of people, when I was hearing other reviews talk about it, some of them were like saying it was a little bit like Beetlejuice in a way. I would say more Men in Black, but then again, I guess there's a similar feel where it's like this association, this undercover association that that is looking after and making sure things don't get unraveled. It has to go the way it is. It really does remind me more of Men in Black than Beetlejuice, thinking about it. A lot of people said Beetlejuice, but I'm like, what? When I was watching the show, it didn't make sense to me. Definitely Men in Black, with how they try to hide the aliens from being uncovered to the world. They're not really trying to hide things from the world, but they are trying to maintain a balance in the timelines. Because they show this little cartoon. It kind of reminds me of Jurassic Park. If you go back and watch the original Jurassic Park, there's like the little cartoon moment where they explain how they brought the dinosaurs back to life. There was a nice little cartoon that explains what the TVA does and what they stand for. And I do wonder if those Time Lord characters will eventually show up. We already saw their statues, they were in the cartoons. Will we actually see them in the flesh? Who knows? But some people are already wondering if this is setting up Kang the Conqueror or anyone else. One of the Time Lords, I was thinking to myself, one of them looked a little bit like the Grandmaster from from Thor Ragnarok, in my opinion. So yeah, that was my quick thought. I really did like the scene where when Loki escapes for a little bit and is trying to find a way out, and he finds this room and he looks in the cabinet and finds the Tesseract, but then he notices, wait a minute, there's all these other stones here and multiple versions of the stones. That you see the Soul Stone, only one Soul Stone, but you see a couple of Power Stones and other Space Stones and a couple of Reality Stones and Time Stones. Someone noted, and I thought it was the Mind Stone, but it was the Soul Stone. They didn't have the Mind Stone in that cabinet, which I thought was interesting when someone pointed that out. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. I thought it was the Soul Stone at first, but when someone pointed out that it's actually the Mind Stone, that actually makes... Is there a reason why the Mind Stone wasn't in that pile? Or they just think, don't worry, people get the idea. Maybe that will come into play for some reason. Maybe is someone being controlled or manipulated? Who knows? But yeah, that was something interesting I heard that was pointed out, that the Mind Stone was the one that was missing. Is there something about Vision that we should know about, or something about the Mind Stone in general? Who knows? So yeah, getting to see all of that, and then getting to see Loki discover what was going to happen to him was interesting too, because you feel that pain again that he went through that entire journey, and him learning that about his mother dying, and about how him and his brother and his father reconnect in many ways, and then obviously getting to his death, which happened in Infinity War. Obviously, it was to allow this version of Loki to catch up with what had already happened in an alternate timeline, and understand, because he thought his family hated him, and through all of that, he learns his mother, his father, and his brother actually did love him, and they do mend those bonds eventually. So now that he's gotten that out of the way, maybe now it seems like he's ready to help out Owen Wilson's character track down this time variant that has also escaped, that he drops the bombshell that this time variant is another Loki. So to track down the god of mischief, you're going to need another god of mischief. Now, the theory out there right now is that this time variant, this other version of Loki that's out there, who I'm guessing was at the end killing all those TVA people, I'm going to guess that it's going to be the female Loki that has been rumored for a while. That would make sense if it is. I mean, it would be a switcheroo that nobody would see coming. Only people that read rumors and sources like myself. I am curious on how that will play out, and I mean, why not? So a lot of people have been pointing out that I think when it was showing Loki's file, I think it said he was fluent, and so because he can transform into anything, and so it's possible that there could be a different version of Loki where it was a woman instead of a guy, which would make sense. Why not? It's something different. It's something that would catch people off guard. Curious on how they'll play with that version of that character. Yeah. So this sounds really cool, guys. Look, first episode in, I was already excited. This was my most anticipated MCU Disney Plus series, for sure. And did it live up to the hype? Definitely. I thought the first episode was great. It introduced us to this world and got us all updated on how the TVA works, where Loki's headspace is at, and where they're going to go next. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, of course, but that's the great thing about these Marvel. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier was a little bit more predictable, because I think it was a little bit more straightforward. There was still things that I wasn't sure what was going to happen and whatnot. I had prediction. If you go see my prediction page on Falcon and Winter Soldier, you'll see I got quite a bit of things wrong. I think this will be even more harder to determine what's going to be happening. I think this will give us a lot of theories to think about, because more like WandaVision was, like, what the heck is going on? What is the end goal here? And I think we're going to learn that and have fun figuring things out. Although there's one thing that we can rest assured, when they showed that glass stain, I think it was in the church of the devil, I thought to myself, it's a good thing. I think it was the showrunner or director, I forgot who right now, came out and said, Mephisto is not going to be in this show. So as soon as that stained glass came up of the devil, I was like, yeah, it's a good thing the writer acknowledged that, because I could see a bunch of fan theories going out if they didn't come out and say that about Mephisto, because that would have been a big thing that people would have seen coming. So if it's not Mephisto, what was the stained glass window indicating it? Well, if you look at Loki, especially when he has his helmet, he has horns on his helmet. So some people think it might be alluding to Loki rather than the devil himself. So with that being said, guys, what do you think of the first episode? I actually did put 2 polls up. I'm gonna get the one that I posted up on YouTube right now. So I asked some people on Twitter and on YouTube. 78% voted that they liked Falcon and Winter Soldier the best, the first episode. And 22%, I wonder how many of you who voted on this one said Loki was the best. All right, well, if you guys think the first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier was the best, that's fine. No one voted for WandaVision. I know some people didn't like the black and white stuff. I thought WandaVision's premiere was great. And it's more of the artistic side of it. I really like how they captured that feel of the black and white era of television. I think they captured that really well. And clearly I noticed that it's more people that appreciate the art of filmmaking that really like the first 2 episodes of WandaVision a lot. I noticed a lot of people who don't care too much for that stuff aren't really into it. So with that being said, guys, tell me, what did you think? Did you like the first episode of Loki, or were you a little disappointed by it? So far, it seems like a lot of people are really loving it. On Rotten Tomatoes, critics, 96% of critics are loving it, and I think I saw 96% of the audience is loving it too. So people are loving Loki, man. MCU, Marvel is hitting it out of the park. Again, not everyone's gonna love it, of course, but it's a small percentage of people that don't like it, really. So hey, deal with it, haters. With that being said, I hope I don't anger people. With that being said, guys, I want to give a thank you and a shout out to my Patreon supporters. Once again, I only have 2 Patreon supporters right now, but I have to thank them because it's part of my deal. If you guys become monthly subscribers, I put up a thank you credit at the end of each video, like this one, and to allow people to see the people that are supporting this channel, that are helping with this channel, because I do want to grow this, and hopefully if I can get more Patreon supporters, I'll be able to get improve on this channel in the future, so, and maybe focus more on it in the future, which is what I want to do. So if you have anything to spare, if you can, $5 a month is all I'm really asking. Although I put a $10 tier as well, Canadian. Just in case anybody can donate a little bit more generous if they can. I know everybody's struggling, so it's not just me. But if you can, $5, I figured maybe is a good price, and maybe giving a thank you shout out like this, showing who's supporting the channel. Hopefully, that will be enough if hopefully. So I know some people have bigger expectations, but I can only do what I can, and I don't really have anything to give other than a thank you shout out. So thank you to those supporting this channel. With that being said, until next time, everybody, take care.